Okay. So this is CA Final GST, chapter number 1, supply under GST. Okay. So let us do the quick thing. Yeah. So the basic concepts are not relevant for exam, but still they have given in annexure 1 for the reference purpose. Yeah. So chapter number 1 is about supply, right? Supply under GST. So taxable event. So when will be any taxable event arise? That is, if it is a supply or supply. Okay. So a taxable event is any transaction or occurrence that results in a tax consequence before levying any tax. Taxable event needs to be ascertained. It is the foundation stone of any taxation system. It determines the point at which tax would be levied. Under the earlier indirect tax regime, the framework of taxable event in various statutes were prone to catena of interpretations, resulting in litigation since decades. The controversies largely related to the issues like whether a particular process amounted to manufacture or not, whether the sale was predetermined sale, whether a particular transaction was a sale of goods or rendering of services, etc. The GST law resolves this issue by laying down one comprehensive taxable event, that is supply. It includes supply of goods or services or both. Various taxable events, namely manufacture, sale, rendering of service, purchase, entry into a territory of state, etc., that existed prior to introduction of GST have been done away with in favor of just one event, that is supply. Okay. The GST law means there were very many things were there, right? Manufacturing, when it will be considered manufacture is complete or sale is complete or rendering of service is done or purchase is done, entry into a territory, etc. Many things were there, but now everything is covered under one thing, that is supply. GST law, by levying tax on the supply of goods and or service, departs from historically understood concept of taxable event under the state weight law, excise law and service tax law, that is sale, manufacture and provision of service respectively. In the GST regime, the entire value of the supply of goods and or services is taxed in an integrated manner, unlike the earlier indirect taxes, which were charged independently either on the manufacture or sale of goods or on the provision of services. So relevant definitions are: number 1, goods. Means every kind of movable property other than money and securities, but includes actionable claim, growing crops, grass and things attached to or forming part of the land, which are agreed to be severed before supply or under a contract of supply. Service means anything other than goods, money and securities, but includes activity relating to the use of money or its conversion by cash or by any other mode from one form, currency or denomination, to another form, currency or denomination, for which a separate consideration is charged. Explanation: for the removal of doubt, it is hereby clarified that expression service includes facilitating or arranging transactions in securities. So first was goods, okay, every kind of movable property other than money and securities, but includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass and things attached to or forming part of the land, which are agreed to be severed before supply or under a contract of supply. Next, principal means a person on whose behalf an agent carries on the business of supply or receipt of goods or services or both. Section 2, subsection 88. Competent authority means an authority as may be notified by the government. Section 2, subsection 29. Family means the spouse and children of the person, and parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters of the person, if they are wholly or mainly dependent on the said person. Section 2, subsection 49. So here family includes spouse and children only. Okay, apart from that, parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, if they are dependent wholly and mainly, then only they are part of family, otherwise they are not part of the family. Next is government, means central government. Section 2, subsection 53. Then local authority means a panchayat as defined in the clause D of article 243 of the constitution. Municipality as defined in clause E of article 243p of the constitution. The 243d is for Panchayat 243P clause E is for municipality. A municipal committee, a Zila Parishad, a district board, and any other authority legally entitled to or entrusted by the central government or any state government with the control or management of a municipal or local fund. A cantonment board as defined in Section 3 of the Cantonment Act 2006. A regional council or a district council constituted under the 6th schedule to the Constitution. Development Board constituted under Article 371 and Article 371J of the Constitution. A regional council constituted under Article 371A of the Constitution, Section 2, subsection 69. Next definition is, so our definition was for local authority in between. See, in all this thing, goods is important, service is important, family is important. Then local authority, somewhere they are giving you the brief. Okay, in this main part was Delhi Development Authority is not a part of municipality or any kind of council or body or something, committee or nothing. It is not covered. In short, it is not part of the government. Then consideration. Consideration in relation to the supply of goods or service or both includes any payment made or to be made, whether in money or otherwise, in respect of or in response to or for the inducement of the supply of goods or services or both, whether by the recipient or by any other person, but shall not include any subsidy given by the central government or a state government. The monetary value of any act or forbearance in response to or for the inducement of the supply of goods or services or both, whether by the recipient or by any other person, but shall not include any subsidy given by the central government or state government. However, a deposit given in the respect of a supply of goods or services both shall not be considered as a payment made for such supply unless the supplier applies such deposit as consideration for the said supply. So here, in respect to consideration, okay, any payment made or to be made, whether in money or otherwise, in response to or for the inducement of the supply of goods or services or both, whether the recipient by any other person, but shall not include any subsidy given by the central government or state government. So for in the first part, any money is being paid for goods or service, that is covered, but any money is received by the central government or state government as a subsidy, it is not included in consideration. Okay, next, monetary value of any act of forbearance in respect of, in response to, or for the inducement of the supply of goods or services or both, whether by the recipient or by any other person, but shall not include any subsidy given by the CG or SG. So this is talking about, in short, we can say anything is given in kind, in monetary value. So anything is given in kind. Okay. However, deposit, if it is given, it is not part of goods or services as a consideration for goods or services, but in case deposit is converted into payment for supply, then it will become a consideration. Okay. Next, business. Business includes any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, wager, or any other similar activity, whether or not it is for a pecuniary benefit. Any activity or transaction in connection with or incidental to or incidental to a above. So first part, they are talking about trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, wager, or any other similar activity, whether or not it is for a pecuniary benefits. Okay. Then the second part, any activity or transaction in connection or incidental or ancillary. Third point, C point, any activity or transaction in nature A above, whether or not there is a volume, frequency, continuity, or regularity of transactions. Okay, so you cannot say that the volume is small or frequency is less, or this is not a continued activity, or regular you are not doing. Still, if it is done, any such activities and there is a transaction happening, supply is there. Supply or acquisition of goods includes capital assets and service in connection with commencement or closure of business. Supply or acquisition of goods including capital assets and services in connection with commencement or closure of business. So if you start a business, if you close a business, any capital asset transactions are there, still it is covered. Okay, so with respect to point C, we can say that volume, frequency, continuity, and regularity they are talking about, but there is a basic limit given in the chapter registration, where the reference is with respect to when a person is required to get himself or herself registered for a business, and when the tax liability will arrive. So basic limit says 40 lakhs and 20 lakhs, 40 lakhs for goods and 20 lakhs for services, and these limits are varying in nature for few states. Okay, depending on that registration is to be done. So until a person is doing 40 lakh rupees turnover for goods or 20 lakh rupees turnover for services, they are not supposed to pay any tax and required to register for GST. Okay, so here when the volume and everything is given, but one or the other way they have given certain exemption, you can say that until that you are not supposed to register for GST. Okay, next, provision by a club, association, society, or any such body for a subscription or any other consideration of the facilities or benefit to its member, as the case may be. Okay, so here club, association, society, whatever benefits or facilities are given to the members. Okay, that is also part. Admission for a consideration to of a person to any premises. Okay, so all these events are happening, whatever events are happening, whatever consideration is paid in respect to that, that is also part of your business. Next, services supplied by a person is the holder of an office which has been accepted by him in the course or furtherance of his trade, profession, or vocation. So any services supplied by a person for as the holder of an office. Okay, so that is also part of the business. Activities of a race club, including by way of totalisator or a license to bookmaker, or activities of a licensed bookmaker in such club. Okay, so these are like horse race and everything are covered here. And any activity or transaction undertaken by the CG, state government or local authority in which they are engaged as a public authority. So these are definition of business. Okay, next is actionable claims, means a claim to any debt other than debt secured by mortgage or immovable property, or by hypothecation or pledge of movable property, or to any beneficial interest in movable property not in the possession either actual or constructive of the claimant, which the civil court recognizes as affording ground for relief, whether such debt or beneficial interest be existence, accruing, conditional, contingent. Section 2, subsection 1 of the CGST Act, read with Section 3 of the Transfer of Property Act. So here actionable claims are covered. Okay, means any debt. Actionable claims is like debenture and etc., share certificate, etc. Actionable claims other than debt secured by mortgage of immovable property, or by hypothecation or pledge of movable property, or to any beneficial interest in movable property not in the possession either actual or constructive of the claimant, which the civil court recognizes affording ground for relief, whether such debt or beneficial interest is be existent, accruing, conditional, or contingent. Very confusing. Next is manufacture, means processing of raw material or inputs in any manner that results in emergence of a new product having a distinct name, character, and use, and the term manufacturer shall be construed accordingly. Money means the Indian legal tender or any foreign currency, check, promissory note, bill of exchange, letter of credit, draft, pay order, traveler check, money order, postal or electronic remittance, or any other instrument recognized by the Reserve Bank of India when used as a consideration to settle an obligation or exchange with Indian legal tender of another denomination, but shall not include any currency that is held for its numismatic value. So they are talking about money includes your Indian legal tender, okay, currency or any foreign currency, or check, or promissory note, or bill of exchange, or letter of credit, draft, pay order, traveler check, money order, postal or electronic remittance, or an instrument recognized by the RBI when used as a consideration to settle an obligation or exchange with Indian legal tender of another denomination, but shall not include any currency that is held for its numismatic value. Next, taxable supply means a supply of goods or services or both which is tax leviable to tax under the Act. Next is taxable territory, or to which the provision of this Act apply to subsection 109. Non-taxable territory means a territory which is outside a taxable territory. Section 2, subsection 7. India means the territory of India as referred to in Article 1 of the Constitution is territorial water, seabeds, and subsoil underlying such water, continental shelf, exclusive economic zone, or any other maritime zone as referred to in the territorial water, continental shelf, exclusive economic zone, and other maritime zones Act 1976, and the air space above its territory and territorial water. Section 2, subsection 56. So this was definition of India, taxable territory, and India is interlinked. Okay, non-taxable territory which is not in India. Okay. Next is supplier. In relation to any goods or service or both shall mean the person supplying the goods or service or both, and shall include an agent acting as such on behalf of such supplier in relation to the goods or service or both. So the person who is supplier or who is agent, both are supplier. Agent are also considered supplier on behalf of somebody else. If some person is doing any activity, then it is a supplier. Hire a person who organizes or arranges directly or indirectly supply of goods, actionable claims, including a person who owns, operates or manages digital or electronic platform for such supply shall be deemed to be a supplier of such actionable claims, whether such actionable claims are supplied by him or through him, and whether a consideration in money or money's worth, including virtual digital assets for supply of such actionable claim, is paid or conveyed to him or through him or placed at his disposal in any manner. And all the provisions of this act shall apply to such supplier or specified actionable claims, as if he is the supplier liable to pay the tax in relation to the supply of such actionable claims. Recipient of supply of goods and or services means where consideration is payable for the supply of goods or services, or both the person who is liable to pay that consideration. Where no consideration is payable for the supply of goods, the person to whom the goods are delivered or made available to, or whom possession of the goods is given or made available. And where no consideration is payable for the supply of service, the person to whom the service is rendered. So initially we understood consideration. Okay, now who is the recipient? Okay, so recipient of supply of goods or services, they are talking about that. Yeah. In case no consideration is there, then also if anybody is recipient of the goods or anybody is recipient of the service, and any reference to a person whom a supply is made shall be construed as a reference to the recipient of the supply, and shall include an agent acting as such on behalf of the recipient in relation to the goods or services or both supplied. Again, too confusing. This requires second study. Person includes section 2 subsection 84. So person includes individual, HUF, company, firm, trust, LLP, local authority, association of person, body of individual, whether incorporated or not, in India or outside India. Any corporation established by or under any CG or provincial act or government as defined in section 245 of the Companies Act. Any body corporate incorporated by or under the law of a country outside India, central government or state government, a cooperative society registered under any law relating to cooperative societies. Society is defined under the Societies Registration Act 1860. Every artificial judicial person not falling above. Okay, so cooperative society is there, society defined in Society Registration Act is there, central governments, state governments are there. So these all are persons. Definition in which expression means has been used are exhaustive definition, and consequently the scope of this definition cannot be expanded. Definition in which expression includes has been used are inclusive and are not exhaustive definition. Resultantly, the scope of this definition is wide. Means what, wherever there is means word is used, so okay, so that is complete definition. That means whatever is mentioned there, that is the part of your definition. But wherever word include is used, so it can be include further more things which are not defined here. Our discussion in this study material will principally be confined to the provision of the CGST and IGST law. Specific state laws are outside the scope of the syllabus. It may be noted that GST laws of all the state and union territory are largely based on the CGST Act 2017. Okay, so here we will study CGST and SGST. Okay, sorry, IGST. SGST is not part because every state has a different SGST law, though they are all collectively part of CGST Act, are based on CGST Act 2017 itself. There is not much difference, but still for academic purpose we are only relevant for CGST and IGST. Okay, so here I am stopping this definition part. For the further topic we will continue in the next video. This is for my own purpose. Okay, if anybody finds it helpful, you can listen to it. Thank you.